Okay, just give me a moment, guys. I'll be back. Just a second. 1 second. Okay. Now everything is set. Is everybody here? Okay, only 4 of you. Fine. We'll start right away. Let me share my screen. Okay, so guys, we have been seeing equilibrium, right? So if you can remember, we just saw how equilibrium can be visualized in case of an irreversible reaction, in case of a reversible reaction. And I said you that in case of an irreversible reaction, equilibrium is reached when the reaction is completed. In the sense, all the reactants have converted themselves into products, right? But in case of a reversible reaction, you see that both side reaction can happen, both forward reaction as well as backward reaction can happen, right? So there it's going to be a dynamic equilibrium in the sense there is going to be a point at which A is going to form B. Some amount of A is going to convert it itself into B, but again the product will again say convert the same amount into product into the reactant A, right? So now what is the condition for equilibrium at with respect to rate? Tell me, what is the condition for equilibrium with respect to rate of a reaction? Hope you're there.
Rate of forward reaction equal to rate of backward reaction.
Correct, right? So I write Rf equal to Rb, right? Rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of the backward reaction, and this happens only at equilibrium. Please be very careful, right? Now, before the reaction, before the equilibrium has reached, it can either be forward reaction can be faster, so that reaction will happen, or say the backward reaction is faster, that might happen. But at equilibrium, this is the condition, right? Okay. Now, okay, if you then we went on to see a quantity. We went on to see the physical number, right, which help us with respect to this equilibrium, and that is what is called as your Kc or Kp, right? So this is your equilibrium constant with respect to concentration. This is the equilibrium constant with respect to your partial pressures, right? Okay. Now we also saw that we have something called as law of mass action, right? So law of mass action says that the rate of a reaction is directly proportional to the the active masses of reactants. If you have more than one reactant, R1, R2, R3, so on and so forth, say the stoichiometric coefficient has to come with the power. Right, so all these we saw, and then this is for the but this is for the forward reaction and for the backward reaction, and we said that at equilibrium they're going to become equal, right? So at last, what did I get? I got Kc. This is capital Kc, people, right? Capital Kc is nothing but it is the ratio of forward rate constant divided by backward rate constant. Obviously, if you can remember, like I have R directly proportional to this, so I can include a constant. Say this is for Rf, it will become Kf into the concentration plus power some stoichiometric coefficient, right? So this Kf, small k, this is small k, equilibrium constant is big K. That's the difference, people. Please understand. This is rate constants or small k, equilibrium constant is big K. Okay, so someone asks you, how do you define my equilibrium constant? In terms of Kc or Kp, doesn't matter. It's just equal to the ratio of forward rate constant and the backward rate constant, right? Okay, then if at all I have a okay, now let me ask you this. Let me ask someone in specific. Okay, say I have N2 plus 3H2 gives 2 ammonia. Okay, I have this reaction with me. How will you write Kc, or not Kc, Kp, because this is gaseous reactions, right? Yeah. So how will you write Kp for this? Let me ask, maybe over there, maybe Rahul. Can you help me out? How will you write the Kp for this reaction? If you are you available in the, can you unmute yourself and speak, or maybe in the chat? Why not? Yeah. Okay. Thinking. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Maybe I will ask Rahul. You want to still tell, or are you still thinking? Okay. I hope you're still thinking only. Okay. Fine. Let me ask someone else then. No problem. No issues, Rahul. Maybe. Shruti is there.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what will be Kp? How will you write Kp for this reaction? This particular reaction, N2 plus 3H2 giving NH3. How will you write the Kp equation? Okay,
Sir,
I think it, yeah, tell me.
only we have to take the liquids and pure solids, no, sir?
Yeah, these are all gases. That's why I specifically asked you Kp, not Kc. These are all gases here. N2 is a gas, H2 is a gas, ammonia is a gas.
So it is 3 into 1 by 2. No.
Wait, okay. I think people have forgotten. Like, let me refresh the memories. No, no problem, Shruti. I'll just help you out. I think everybody has forgotten. Wait, let me do it again. Right. So, guys, if you have an equation like this, say random equation AA plus BB gives CC plus DD. Okay, this is some random equation, right? So if you want to write Kc or Kp for this, how will you write? Now I told you this Kc is nothing but you have to make sure that the products come in the numerator and reactants come in the denominator, and wherever you have the stoichiometric coefficients, right, they have to come to the powers. Now how will I write it? Very simple. Now what are the products? C and D are the products. So concentration of C, you have a stoichiometric coefficient of small c, concentration of D, power small d. Now react products are over, divided by concentration of A with respect power A into concentration of B power B. Now if it was Kp for this reaction, if all of them were gases, now how to return? Now instead of this concentration, I will just write Pc power C, Pd power D divided by Pa power A into Pb power B. That's it. Very, very simple. So the moment I ask you Kc or Kp, what are you going to do? You're going to make sure that the concentration or the partial pressures of reactants are there in the numerator, and you have to raise them to the power of the stoichiometric coefficient, and divided by in the denominator, you are going to have the reactances concentration or the reactances partial pressure, again raised to the stoichiometric coefficient. Right now, I think you'll be able to help me. Shruti, can you tell me the answer for Kp now for this reaction?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
2 and 2 and numerator is 2.
Numerator is what? What is the product?
2 NH3. So pressure.
Partial pressure of NH3, right? Power?
It's 1, sir.
2. See, look at the stoichiometric coefficient, right? Stoichiometric coefficient come in the power. So power 2, divided by, then. That's only the reactant. Then. So only one product. Okay.
And concentration of N2?
No, here you are talking about Kp. So it's partial pressures, right? So partial pressure of N2. Okay, then.
Into partial pressure of H2 and power is 3.
Good, that's it. So this is exactly how you write the equation for Kc or Kp. Okay, fine. Now let me ask one more. Thank you, Shruti. Okay, say if I have a reaction like what reaction? So many reactions. Why am I not remembering? Okay, no issues. PCl5 giving PCl3 plus Cl2, right? So, okay, this is PCl3, people. Please be very careful. Okay, PCl5, PCl3, this is the reaction. Okay, or wait, I'll give you another reaction. Right, so I write H2 plus I2 giving 2HI, right? So maybe Kc or Kp, doesn't matter. You can take anything, just that it is going to be partial pressures or it is going to be your concentrations. It's Kc here. Okay, say maybe I'll ask okay, Surya, are you there, Kana? Surya? Okay, maybe Pranav, are you there? Pranav? No, someone is in the chat. Okay, Pranav is there. Oh, Surya is also there. Okay, maybe I'll ask Surya only. Surya, can you tell me for this reaction? I don't have current here. Okay. So you'll not be able to unmute yourself and speak. Is that what you're telling? Okay. Fine. So Pranav, can you unmute yourself and speak? Shall I text? Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever it is. Can you tell me how for this reaction which is behind you here, how will you write the Kc equation? You can chat, you can put it in the chat. I have H2 plus I2 giving 2HI. Kc for this reaction.
So if you find Kp, it's enough.
Anything, and I'll tell you, basically Kp and Kc are also related with the formula. I'll tell you how is it related also. So basically you can, yeah, generally these are gases only, so it's better to talk in terms of Kp, but chuma I asked Kc or Kc Kp, whatever it is, no problem. It's just that how whether you're understanding to how to write the Kc or Kp equation, that's what is important.
So who should answer now?
Pranav,
you ask
Pranav. Yeah, Pranav is saying 1 second, sir, in the chat. Yes, Pranav, do you have the answer? I think he's typing, maybe. P, okay, partial pressure of Hi power 2, okay, in the numerator, correct? Denominator? Quick, Pranav, quick. Okay, partial pressure of Hi, only H's are there. Okay, cool. Anyways, I think what you meant to say, I understood, and you're correct. This thing, except for the spelling mistakes, right? The second PH2 into PI2 should come, Pranav. Right. Anyways, so here it's pretty simple. So, anyways, Kc, I will even write Kp actually because these are gases, right? So now how will I write? It will be partial pressure of Hi in the product. That's what's the product. Now the stoichiometric coefficient is 2 divided by partial pressure of H2 and power 1 into partial pressure of I2. That's it. Right? So this is how we write the Kc or Kp equations. Okay, fine. Now, before we move on to see what is the relationship between Kc and Kp, there are certain things which you have to know, right? That things are basically the properties of constant, that is rate constant K, not rate constant, equilibrium constant K, right? What are all the properties, right? First and foremost thing, right? Now, what you have to understand is this K is basically going to be independent of the initial concentrations or initial partial pressures, right? It really doesn't matter, right? So these are constant values. The Kc or Kp are for a particular reaction are going to be constant values irrespective of how much ever you start with, right? They are irrespective. They are not going to be dependent on the initial concentration or the initial partial pressure of the reactants or products. It is not going to depend on that, right? Okay. Next thing is that these are temperature dependent, right? It depends on the temperature, right? If temperature changes, right, this will also change. The Kc or Kp equation will also change. Okay. Now, one more thing is you will be able to predict. You'll be able to predict how the reaction happens. That is the forward. Whether the reaction had happened in the forward reaction, forward direction, or in the backward direction. That also can be predicted with the value. If you look at the value of Kp, right, you will be able to actually give me. You will be able to tell me, sir, this reaction would have happened in the forward direction only, or say this reaction would have happened in the what is it, backward direction only. All those can be predicted, right? So how do you predict it? There is actually an equation, right, which is going to help us. I told you that the equilibrium constants, like when I spoke in thermodynamics, right? So I told you there is this thing called as G, delta G, Gibbs free energy. The Gibbs free energy and the equilibrium constants are actually connected. Okay, so that maybe that we'll see later. Okay, how is it connected? How will I be able to predict whether the reaction has moved forward or it has came backward? All these things. But just for now, remember that if the Kc or Kp equation, or the value is greater than 1, right? If the Kc or Kp equation is greater than 1, that means the reaction is spontaneous in a particular direction. right? Basically, if you find that the value of 2.5 for a Kc or Kp, that means definitely only forward reaction would have happened. But if you find that it is going to be lesser than that, right, basically lesser than 1, that means backward reaction will happen. That's what it means, right? Okay, anyways, we'll come back to this point later, right? Now next thing is, what if you reverse a reaction, or what if you add 2 or 3 reactions, or what if you multiply throughout the reaction by a factor? What is going to happen, right? So we'll see all that. You don't have to mug up anything, people. You just have to look at the logic. Okay, right. Now say I have a reaction, say okay, AA giving BB is a reaction. Okay, now if I write Kc or Kp for this, say Kc, how will I write? It will be B power B divided by A power A. Yes, right? The concentration of the product power the stoichiometric coefficient divided by concentration of the reactant power the stoichiometric coefficient. Done. Right. Now, if I want to write the backward reaction, this is for the forward reaction, thinking that B is the product and A is the reactant, this is how it works. Right? This is how it works. Right. Now, if I take the backward reaction, that is B giving A, right? Now what will happen? Now this is the next point, people, after that. Okay, so what I'm telling is, if I write the backward reaction, BB giving AA, so that's the backward reaction. So if I write it as Kc dash, now what will happen? What is the reactant here? Reactant is B. What is the product? Product is A. So now how it will be? It will be A to the power A. Hey, what happened? Okay, A to the power A divided by B to the power B. Okay, now what do you see? For the forward reaction, this is the equilibrium constant. For the backward reaction, this is the equilibrium constant, right? Now, what is the relationship between Kc and Kc dash? What do you see here? What do you see, guys? The relationship between Kc and Kc dash?
It's inverse, sir.
Exactly, they are reciprocal, right? So that's the point. The point is, if you know the rate equilibrium constant for the forward reaction, the backward reaction's equilibrium constant is also known. That just that it will be the reciprocal of the forward rate constant. Okay, so if I can indicate with the help of some variables, right? So the next point would be Kc of forward, Kcf, that means Kc of the forward reaction is equal to, K1 by, so again, it's equal to 1 divided by Kc of the backward reaction. This you have to remember, right? So if you know the forward reactions equilibrium constant, the backward reaction equilibrium constant will be the reciprocal of the forward rate constant, or whatever, however it is, vice versa. Okay, so this is what happens when you reverse a reaction, the equilibrium constant becomes reciprocal. Very, very important point. Okay, next point.
Sir, here K is small k only, no, sir?
Here it is big K, big K. This is about equilibrium constant. Always equilibrium constants, big K. Rate constant, small k. Okay, right? Fine. So moving on, next point. Oh God, what is wrong? Maybe I'll write it here. Right. Okay. Now you saw what happens if I reverse a reaction. Now, what if I multiply a reaction through a factor? Say, for example, again, I have say same reaction. I have AA reversibly giving BB. Okay. Now, say obviously I know the Kc value for this. Kc would be A. Sorry. It will be B power B divided by A power A. Done. This is what is my equilibrium constant, forward reactants by products, right? Now what happens, say I multiply throughout by a factor of n, say this multiplied by n. Now what will happen? It will become NAA gives NBB. So basically n is a number. N can be 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever it is. A is the stoichiometric coefficient, B is the stoichiometric. Yes, any doubts? Okay, fine. So n, it can be any integer. Okay, now how will I write the Kc for this? So Kc dash, I just will call it, will be equal to, again, product is B. Guys, I think you have to unmute yourself. I'm hearing some background noise. Okay, no issues. So I have B. Now what is stoichiometric coefficient? Stoichiometric coefficient is this entire thing. Last time it was just a B, right? Now here I have NB present. So N into B or NB, however it is, right? These are two different numbers divided by concentration of A into M power N. Now obviously A is also there. Correct, right? Now this, I'll be able to write it as, how will I write? I can write it as Kc dash is equal to B power B divided by A power A. Can I write it like this? Whole power N? Yes, right? So this N and this N, I can just put it outside the bracket. And obviously I write B power B by A power A, the whole power N. Right. So what is this B power B and A power A? What is this inside? What is this inside the brackets?
Kc.
Kc, obviously, right? So how can I write the relationship now? Kc dash will be equal to Kc power N. This is what you have to remember. So what happens? Whenever you multiply a reaction throughout by a factor of N, the equilibrium constant has to be raised to that particular number. Right? So here you multiply by N. So the new reaction's equilibrium constant is equal to the previous equilibrium constant, the whole power N. N is the number which you multiply. Okay, so this is the next point, right? The next point is Kc or Kc dash, that is for the, when you multiply throughout by number, is equal to the equilibrium constant without multiplication, power that factor which you have multiplied. Okay, so till now you have seen two things. One, for reversing, it will become a reciprocal. And if you multiply throughout by a factor, that factor has to go out as a power to the equilibrium constant. This again you have to remember. Okay, now third and final thing, final operation which you can do, right? So that is, say I have a reaction like this. A gives B, right? Say B gives C. Say this is K1, this is K2, right? Say now I want to know C. Okay, wait. Right, so I want to know for A giving C, what is the equilibrium constant? K, capital K. Okay, now obviously what you understand, if I add these two reactions, if I add A giving B and B giving C, I'll be ending up with this equation, but you cannot directly add it. This cannot be directly added, right? Now we'll see how it goes anyways, right? So for K1, how will I write? K1 will be B divided by A. No stoichiometric coefficient, so no powers. Again, K2 will be equal to C divided by B. Right? Now for this, how will I write? K. In K, how will I write? It will be C divided by A. Right? Now tell me what I have to do to K1 and K2. Right? What? To get K. What did he say?
Multiply them.
Obviously, right? So if I multiply these two people, what will happen? B and B will get cancelled if I multiply this. So what is remaining? Only C in the numerator and A in the denominator, and that's exactly what I got here, right? So if you add two or more reactions, their equilibrium constants has to be multiplied. So in this case, K will be equal to K1 into K2. Very simple. Right? Now, if you subtract, what will happen? Like subtract means basically you will reverse one of the reactions, right? So when you reverse one of the reactions, what will happen? Obviously, now the reciprocal, it will become, or like you can understand that when you reverse the reaction and then you subtract two reactions, it will be what? It will be division. K1 by K2 it will become. Okay, so this is the third and final operation, people. So remember that whenever you multiply two reactions, right, their equilibrium constants, sorry, whenever you add two reactions, their equilibrium constants has to be multiplied. Please remember this. Three operations. one for reversal, one for multiplying with a number. Third is addition or subtraction of two or more reactions. Okay, so these things you will remember, which is going to help you a lot. Okay, so these are all the properties of equilibrium constant, right? So what are the properties? It is independent of the initial concentration. It is dependent on temperature, and obviously about the spontaneity of a reaction we'll see later, like how it goes. But anyways, you can just remember that for a spontaneous reaction, the equilibrium constant value is greater than 1. That's okay. And the operations: reversal, multiplying by a factor, and addition or subtraction of two reactants. What will happen to the equilibrium constant? Done. Okay. Fine. So this is done with us, right? Now, next thing what you have to see is, people, we have to find the relationship between your Kc and Kp. Okay, fine. We'll try to do that now. Right. So we are going to see relationship between Kc and Kp. Right, we are going to have a small derivation, and the derivation is also important, and your end result is also important. Okay, fine. Now I write Chuma, I have a reaction like this. Say I have a random reaction only I'm taking. Okay, right. Now let me write the Kp for this. Kp will be, oh wait, Kp will be partial pressures. Right, so it will be Pc power C, Pd power D divided by A and PB power B. Okay, done. This is my Kp equation, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ideal gas equation. That is P, oh, wait. PV is equal to nRT. This equation I already have with me, right? Now, how will I write pressure? Pressure, I'll be able to write it as P is equal to N by V into RT, right? I can write it like this: pressure is equal to N by V into RT. And this N by V is what? What is N by V? Number of moles by volume. What is it? What is number of moles by volume? Anybody? If you know, you can put it in the chat box also. What is number of moles by volume? Nobody knows. Number of moles by volume, what is it? Nobody's going to put it in the chat. I mean, I should understand that nobody remembers or nobody knows. Okay, fine. How come you don't remember? Right. So remember, right? This is my molarity, number of moles by volume. And that's exactly we use here for your Kc equation. When we write this in brackets, when I write K concentration of A, that means what? This basically means molarity of A. Number of moles of A divided by volume. Right? So please remember this number of moles by volume, that's the formula, right? Now, how do we define molarity? It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 liter of the solution. So basically the formula is number of moles divided by volume of the solution, right? So remember N by V is molarity. So now I'll be able to rewrite this particular equation in terms of pressures. I can use this concentration into R into T, right? Now how will I write it? Now this same equation, I can write it as, say now it's Pc, now C is here. So I can write it as concentration of C. Now why write concentration? Now this, I can write it as concentration into C into R into T, right? N by V becomes concentration or molarity, right? So I bracket C in the sense, I represent the concentration and molarity, right? So C, now C into RT, because the whole thing, for every pressure you are going to write in terms of this n by or c into r into t. The whole thing power c into I have now the next thing is d. So the concentration of d into r into t, the whole power d divided by, right? Divided by, now I have a, so it will be concentration of a r into t, the whole power a into the concentration of b r into t, the whole power p. Right? Any questions, people? How did I write this? Everybody understood? Please give me a yes. I want everybody to give me a yes in the chat or open your this thing and
Sir, could you again just repeat how we substituted the A, B, C in place of
Yeah.
molarity?
Sure. So I have all these here are partial pressures, PA, PB, PC. We are writing the KP equation for this particular reaction. We are writing the KP equation. This is understood. This is easy, right? Now I am going to use my ideal gas equation. So in the place of the partial pressures, I'm going to use something else. So how do I write it? I know PV is equal to nRT, right? So I just bring V this side. So it will become N by V into R into T. Right. Now, what is N by V? N by V, I told you, is molarity. No, I didn't tell you. That is why you should know it, right? Number of moles of solute divided by volume of solution, right? That is what is molarity. That is what is concentration. So I can write basically this. You wrote it as C here, right? If you want, I can even write it as some concentration into R into T. Again, concentration, whatever the concentration of the particular species you're talking about, that has to be substituted, right? Now, what I have here, I have PC power C, right? Now, how will I write PC? PC is going to be concentration of C into R into T. If I use the ideal gas equation, right? Now, what else is remaining? There is a power also remaining. Constant, the stoichiometric coefficient. That's what I wrote here. C into R into T whole power C. Same way for D, how will I write? PD is here. So it will be concentration of D into R into T. Again, there is a power. D is there. Same way for A, same way for B. Yes, understood? Hello?
Yes, I understood now, sir.
Okay, how about everyone else? Everybody understood? Please give me a yes in the chat box or unmute yourself and say yes.
Yes, sir, understood.
Okay, 2, then okay, 4, 5, 6, Surya, Pranav, what happened? Oh, Surya said Pranav.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, right? So everybody understood how did we end up from here to here, right? Okay, now it's going to be pretty simple. Now what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to take all the RTs out. Okay, now I think we need a bigger, I think I'll try to squeeze it in here. Okay, so now how will I write this? So I can write it as C power C into D. Okay, this is D, guys. Please, this is not B, this is D. D power D divided by A power A into B power B. Okay, this I just gave the concentrations one side into, I have all the RTs there. Now RT, right? Now please understand, I have RT power C into RT power D. So it's like 2 power 2 into 2 power 2. What do you write? How do you write? 2 power 4. How 4 came? Basically, you add the powers, right? So it will be RT power C plus D. Correct, right? Now again, what you have here is basically again you have A and B has to be multiplied. But when I go for denominator and numerator powers, they has to be subtracted, right? So RT power C plus D minus of A plus B. This is exactly how I write it. Okay, right? So like C, D, A, B, all these are stoichiometric coefficients. Small a, small b, small c, small d, all these are stoichiometric coefficients. I hope you understand how this came and how this came, right? So whenever it's like this, say I have 2 power 5 into 2 power 6 divided by 2 power 8, or not 8, no, 2 power 3 into 2 power 2. Now, what will be the exact answer? So this is 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 minus 3 would be 8. 8 minus 2 will be 6. So answer is 2 power 6. So how did you end up with? You added you added the powers in the numerator, you added the powers in the denominator, and you subtracted denominator and the numerator. That's how it's proper simple mathematics, right? So that's what I exactly did here. So now I can see, please make a note of this equation. This is the last equation. We still have to continue, right? So what I did from this step from here, I just took RTs outside, all the RTs outside, and I added and subtracted the powers. That's it. That's right. That's what I did. Okay. Now moving on, right? Now I think you can understand what is going to come out. What is this here? This particular term. What is this?
Concentration, sir.
Yeah, what is this? Like concentration, I understand. C power C, D power D, all these divided by A power A into B power E. What is this? Kc, right?
Yes,
Is it not? Right, this is Kc, no? All these concentrations power the stoichiometric coefficients of the products and reactants. That's it. This is what I have. Right? We are talking about Kp. We started with the partial pressures. We used the ideal gas equation here. Then what I did, I took out all the concentration on one side and RT another side. That's it. So now what is this? This is basically my Kc value. That's it. Right. So now I think you'll be able to get a beautiful equation connecting Kc and Kp. Pretty simple. Right. Okay. So now what did I get? We have started with Kp. So what happened to Kp now? Kp is equal to Kc RT. Now, if you look at the previous page, oops. Yeah. So if you look at the previous page, I basically have C plus D minus of A plus B, and all these are stoichiometric coefficient. C and D are the stoichiometric coefficient of products, and A and B are the stoichiometric coefficient of reactants, right? So can I write it as, I'll just give it as, oh, what happened? I added a page. What about the previous page? Oh, yeah. Right. So I have Kp is equal to Kc we got, because we segregated into concentration terms and in the RT terms, and RT I have C plus D minus of A plus B. So I'm going to write it as delta N. That's it. This is my equation. So where delta N is equal to total stoichiometric coefficients of products. Sorry. Minus total stoichiometric coefficient of reactants. That's what I said it as. C plus D was the total stoichiometric coefficient of products, and A plus B I had minus of A plus B. That was total stoichiometric coefficient of reactants. So this is a beautiful equation. So now whenever you have Kc or Kp, you will be able to find the other one. R is a universal gas constant, and that value should be 0.0821. Right, the value is, because we obviously will be using liters at atmosphere for this thing. When we go for concentration, we'll be using the volume in terms of liters, right? So definitely our value should be 0.0821, and T is temperature. Temperature should be in Kelvin, right? Temperature should be in Kelvin, and delta N is the number, total stoichiometric coefficient of products minus total stoichiometric coefficient of reactants. Yes, any doubts? Everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is an equation. I told you there's a connection between Kc and Kp, and we have got it. Okay, right, fine. Now I'm going to introduce you to another term. Okay, now people say, now I give you a situation, right? Say there is a reaction where I have only initially at time t is equal to 0, right? You have only one, you have only reactants present. There is no product, obviously. That is one case, right? In second case, say there is some amount of reactants as well as there is some amount of product. Say, for example, I have the reaction N2 plus 3H2 giving ammonia. I have that reaction. Say, assume that in a vessel, I have N2, I have H2 as well as ammonia. Okay, now the question is, if you have only either reactant or say only product, I can say that okay, this side reaction will happen. Say if I have only reactant, I can say for sure that the reaction is going to move in the forward direction because only reactant is there, right? Say if I have only product, then I can easily say that the reaction is obviously going to move only in the backward direction, right? But what if I have both reactants and the products at the same vessel at time t is equal to 0? How will you predict, right? How will you predict which side the reaction is going to move, right? So for that particular thing, we have a number, we have a scale, not scale, we have a number which is actually going to help us, right? Is actually going to help us predict whether the reaction is going to move forward or whether the reaction is going to move backward. And this conditions, all these complications will come only when I have both reactants as well as products at time t is equal to 0 at the initial cases itself. Okay, so what is that particular thing which is going to help us? That particular thing which is going to help us is what is called as your reaction quotient. Right? Reaction quotient, it is denoted by the letter capital Q. Again, it can be QC or QP. QC for concentration, QP for partial pressures. Okay, fine. This reaction quotient, and what is the use of it? It is going to help me predict which side the reaction is going to happen. Okay, now if you look at the formula of this, it's going to be exactly same as the formula for Kc or Kp. So again, if at all I have a reaction like say AA giving BB is the reaction, so the QC or QP for this will again be it will be products power B divided by reactants power the stoichiometric coefficient. It's the same thing, right? But what is the difference, right, is in case of Kc equation, if I write the Kc equation, what are the concentrations should I substitute there? Tell me. If I write Kc, the Kc is also for the same formula, say the same formula, right? But we'll come back to QC. But in Kc specifically, what are these concentrations? At what time I have to take the concentrations? I told
So
you.
could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what I'm asking is, this is also constant. Like QC and Kc are having both formulas. I mean, same formulas, right? Both are concentration of products by concentration of reactants, right? But we'll come back to QC later. But for Kc, one thing is fixed, right? What are these concentrations? Is it the initial concentration or what?
The final one of the final concentration.
Exactly. So these are when for Kc, these are the concentrations when the reaction has reached equilibrium. Please be very, very careful, right? For Kc, these concentrations I substitute here, right, are the concentration at the final stage. In the sense, these are the concentrations at equilibrium. I specified this so many times when I taught you Kc. Right? So these are the concentrations or partial pressures at the end of the reaction, in the sense when the reaction has reached equilibrium. But for QC, there is no restriction like that. It can be initial concentration, it can be somewhere in between, or it can be even the final equilibrium concentration. If it is going to be equilibrium concentration, then QC and Kc will become equal. Hope you understand. Right? So again, I repeat, for Kc, there is a restriction of what are the values you are putting for concentration. They are going to be always only equilibrium concentrations at the concentration at the equilibrium. But for QC, For the reaction quotient, there is no restriction. You can put at whatever time period, whatever concentrations you can have and substitute here. Doesn't matter. It can be initial concentration. It can be after 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 40 seconds. At equilibrium, it can be anything. Right? But for QC, if you substitute the concentrations at equilibrium, then what will happen? Obviously, QC and KC are going to become equal. Right? Because KC is also equilibrium concentration. For QC also, you have submitted only the equilibrium concentration. So QC and KC will become equal. Okay, right? So now why we started all this? We started all this to predict whether in what way the reaction is going to happen, whether the forward direction or in the backward direction. Okay, so obviously 99% of cases, right? If you want to predict whether the reaction is going to move forward or backward, these concentrations you substitute are actually going to be initial concentration, is it not? Because what I said, initially A will be there, initially B will be there, both reactants and products are there. So now with that initial concentration only, you have to predict, right? You have to predict saying that, okay, this is going to move forward or this is going to move backward. Okay, now at some point of time, what happens is, at some point of time, in some reactions, what happens is, say the reaction will move forward, say for 10 seconds, right? Now, after 10 seconds, again, you will see that the reaction is moving backward, right? All these things are possible. So again, at that time, you have to substitute, at that time, whatever the concentrations are, after 10 seconds, whatever the concentrations, if you substitute, right? So again, that is going to give me an answer. I'll tell you how to find the answer. I'll tell you how to predict. Right? But I'm telling how will you use QC? Now QC value will keep on changing, right? Initially you will have some concentration. After 10 seconds, you'll have some other concentration. Again, at some other time, you'll have some other concentration. So accordingly, my QC value also will keep on changing. Okay, right? Now, how am I going to predict? Right now, I'm going to predict whether the reaction is going to move forward or backward by comparing these two. That is my QC value or QC value and KC value. I'll be able to compare them, whether it's which one is higher, right? Accordingly, I'll be able to say that the reaction is going to move forward or backward. Okay, by comparing the value of QC and KC. That's what I'm going to do. Right. So we'll try to do it now. What is the time? Okay, I'll just take 5 more minutes, people. I'll not take much of your time. Okay, this is again a fresh page only. Okay, cool. So there are going to be 3 cases, right? When you want to compare 2 values, there can be only 2 cases. One can be higher, or the other can be higher, or the third case is both are equal, right? So both are equal is pretty understandable, right? Say first case, right? QC is equal to KC. Now that means what? The reaction has come to an end, right? So this indicates it's neither moving forward nor moving backward. The reaction has reached equilibrium, right? Because obviously the value of concentrations you have substituted in your QC would have been equilibrium concentration, right? Only then you will understand that it will become equal to KC, and that means that obviously the reaction has come to an end. It has reached equilibrium. So this is the first condition when you find KC and QC to be equal, right? Second, when QC is say less than KC, right? QC is less than KC. Okay, now you don't have to mug up anything. We'll just try to logically understand this. Okay, now please understand, for any reaction, either moving forward or moving backward or whatever it is, for any reaction, the end result, what it wants, it wants to reach equilibrium. For any reaction for that matter. Okay, it wants to reach equilibrium. That means it wants to reach this particular condition. That means QC equal to KC. Only then obviously equilibrium is reached. Okay, so you have to do something to the QC value so that it becomes equal to the KC value, so that the reaction will reach equilibrium. Okay, for any reaction for that matter, at the end, the equilibrium has to be reached. And what is the condition for that? The condition with respect to QC and KC is that they should be equal. Okay, now say, oops, I'm sorry guys, something happened. Okay, so when I write QC I know is basically going to be products divided by reactants. Okay, now what should I do? I find that the QC value is lesser than KC. Is it not? So what should I do? Can I say that I should increase the value of QC? Why should I increase the value of QC? Because I want to reach equilibrium. Only if I increase the value of QC, at some point of time, it is going to become equal to Kc. Is it not? Again, I repeat. The second case is that I find that the QC value is less than Kc value. Okay. So obviously, I told you that eventually I have to reach equilibrium. How will I reach equilibrium? When I find that this particular condition is satisfied, that is QC becoming equal to Kc, that means the reaction is reaching equilibrium, right? Now, for that to happen, what should I do? You see that the QC value is lesser than Kc. Obviously, the QC value has to be increased so that it becomes equal to Kc, right? Now, if you look at, if you come back here and check, how will I be able to increase the value of QC? Obviously, the numerator has to be increased, right? And the denominator has to be decreased. Or in other words, in the numerator, I have my products. The product concentration has to be increased and the reactants concentration has to be decreased, right? Again, I repeat, the numerator has to be increased and the numerator I have the product concentration and the new denominator has to be decreased so that QC value increases. And the denominator I have the reactants, right? Now tell me at what direction if I go, whether forward or backward, this particular thing will happen. The product concentration increases, the reactant concentration decreases. What direction?
Backward, sir.
How backward? In backward direction, see, in forward direction, reactants giving products. So what will happen? Say initially it will have some X, this will be 0. So this will keep on increasing, this will keep on decreasing, right? Because the reactants will keep on getting consumed, right? And more products would have been formed. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Right? So obviously the product concentration is keeping on increasing. So more and more product has to be formed and the reactants concentration has to decrease. That means the reactants has to keep on getting consumed, right? So obviously what direction will this happen? This will happen only if the reaction moves forward. Right. So now if you find that the QC value, initially, whatever the initial concentration you substituted, and if you find that that is lesser than the Kc value is already known. It will be given to you. Don't worry. Okay. So if you find that the QC value is lesser than the Kc value, that means definitely the reaction is going to move in the forward direction. Okay. Fine. Right. So everybody I'll just give you the third thing also. Then if I'll ask you if you have any doubts. So third and the final case is obviously QC. Oh God, what happened? Right, say QC is greater than Kc now. Right, so obviously you know what is going to happen. I'm going to get backward reaction, but we'll see how. The same thing, right? So now again QC will be products by reactants. This is done. Right. Now what I have to do, again, the reaction has to reach equilibrium. What do you mean by equilibrium? That means this particular condition, QC is equal to Kc, has to get satisfied. Right. So what I have to do for that, to the value of QC, the QC value has to be decreased. Right. So if I want to decrease the QC value, obviously I have to decrease the numerator and increase the denominator. That means the product concentration has to decrease and the reactants concentration has to increase, and that is possible and only possible if I have the backward reaction. That means the products are getting consumed and more reactants are getting formed, right? So obviously when I have QC less than Kc, you can predict that the reaction is gonna move backward reaction. Okay, so everybody understood. I want everybody to give me a yes if you understood the three things. If you want me to explain, sir. Yeah, one. Guys, again in the chat, go for it. Okay, 2, 3.
Yes, sir, understood.
4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's it, or one more is there. Okay, that's it, right? So everybody understood. right? So what if now with initially if you have some numbers, initially if you have some concentration, now you can predict, okay, with this side only reaction is going to go either forward or backward, or nothing is going to happen. That means the QC and KC values are equal. That is in at equilibrium. Okay, fine. So we'll continue, people. We'll continue with this in the next class. Okay, thank you so much. We'll meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.